Time.
Thank you. Our next speaker, Dave Dardinger, his speech title is Questions from the Floor. This is speech number 9 from the CC manual, Persuade with Power. Of course, I think this is Dave's, how many times have you completed your CC manual now?
6 or 8 times, I don't know.
Okay. He is asked for 5 to 7 minutes. This morning, Dave, your newly elected U.S. President, yay, has to present a speech and is now going to answer questions from the floor.
Oh,
So write a question and he may choose you to ask it. Please welcome Dave Dardinger.
nice.
I'm glad for that great applause I just had for my speech.
I tried.
And I have some time left, so I think I'll take some questions from the floor. Everybody think a question and raise your hand if you've got one. Okay, Brian, you got your hand?
Mr. President, how are you going to do everything you said you were going to do?
Well, I'm not going to do it all by myself, mind you. But I'm a good judge, I think, of people. And so therefore, I am going to get the right people in the right job, and things will flow from that. Anybody else got a question now? Yeah, Sabrina.
Mr. President, what is your take on global warming?
Well, I know it's not popular among the intelligentsia, but I am definitely in the category that the left calls a climate change denier. And I've given speeches even in public, as an aside, on that subject. But I think it is important that we listen to what the warmists have to say, but I think there needs to be a lot more give and take instead of people who just say they're not even going to talk to someone who is not in favor of spending much of our money on global warming. Next question. Therese.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. How long have you had this dream of being president? When you were a child, or how many years as of today?
Well, as you know, I'm 70 years old, much like the Clintons. I have been thinking ever since I can remember about what it would be like to have all that responsibility and power. And so I've been thinking about it, and I've been working hard, and I'm going to continue to work hard for the American people. Next question. Yes.
So I think everybody cares about the hollowing out of the middle class in the mid-century. What are you going to do to replace all those factory jobs that gave us such a period of economic prosperity?
It's a difficult situation. I know a lot of people, including myself, have talked about how having too many people entering this country at a given time can create problems for the people who are already here. And I do think it is important to make sure that the people we do bring us positive results. So what I'm going to try to do is to try to find a medium, a happy medium, so that the people who are here will have sort of maybe first choice on jobs, and the people who are still learning the ropes, learning the English language, or finding jobs will have to wait a little while. Yes.
Mr. President, how do you respond to the catfight that you and Hillary Clinton got in yesterday, as reported on CNN?
I don't think it was a catfight. We have disagreements, and we had lots of disagreements during the election process. But I think it's important that now that things are over, things settle down. And Hillary and her running mate, I think, could help things by calling off the dogs. Or we may get into a catfight. Next.
Mr. President, how do you plan to work with those who still oppose your views?
Well, first of all, as president, I am the president of all the people, not just people in my political party. And we have a strong Democratic minority in the House and the Senate, especially in the Senate. So it's going to be important to talk with them and find out what's the most important and where we can compromise without giving up our principles. So it's going to be a situation where we need to have sit-downs and we need to have some really serious discussion about what's important and what's not. Next. All right.
Mr. President, what do you think about the economies of the world in terms of how we're going to be able to continue to have this growth and have this prosperous economy in the United States?
Well, unfortunately, a lot of what seems to be growth in this country and many other countries is actually hiding the amount of debt that we're building up. Anybody can live a life of richness for a certain amount of time. They can pretend that they have lots of money when they really don't. And this country has got to stop spending more than we make. And if we do that, and it's not necessarily going to be easy, and we may have a certain amount of pain in order to get to the place where we want to be, then I think it's important that we get together and have a tapered off overspending time, and then we're going to try to we want to pay the money back that we owe to the people.
In the news recently, there's been a lot of bullying of other cultures and other religions and people of different races. What would you do to persuade them to stop doing what they're doing?
What, the other people or the other people?
The people that are bullying, how would you persuade them to stop? What would you tell them?
I'm sorry, I was talking to you. Question?
There's a lot of bullying going on with
Bullying,
people.
okay.
Yeah, how would you tell them to stop?
Well, when you're talking about bullying, there's, what do you call what happens, say, with ISIS in the Mideast? And sure, that's not everybody, but bullies are never a majority in a schoolyard either. There's only a few of them, but there needs to be a situation where those who have been causing problems overseas can stop doing that. So it's a case where there's got to be some give and take. People are going to have to say, okay, we will no longer bother people in our countries if you will stop calling us names. I don't know how successful that's going to be. Okay, I think we have time for one more question. Who would like to ask a question? Yes.
Mr. President, what are your plans to fund NASA and space exploration?
Well, I think space program has always been popular. I do think, though, that even though there are some growing pains, that there are a need for us to support the private sector when it comes to going into space. And so I want NASA to get back to its original research and design thing, mandate, and stop spending all our money on just sending particular satellites and so forth into space, and start figuring out how to make better rockets and how to get us the places that we need to go. Well, thank you very much. I've appreciated this opportunity to speak to you, and I'll be back shortly.
Yay for President.
Now let's welcome Chris back up here, who is going to be evaluating Dave's speech.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Dave, thank you for your speech today. I wanted to read the first sentence here for the evaluation. Is for the speaker to present a persuasive speech and combine logical support for his or her viewpoint with a strong emotional appeal. At first, when you came up here and we were going to ask you questions, I was a little confused, I'll be honest. But then I thought, okay, I see the science behind this, and I see what you're doing, and it's pretty smart. Because in order to deliver a persuasive speech, you delivered a platform that was not like what we normally are used to. You're engaging the audience to give you information so you can persuade them back with your response, and I thought that was brilliant. So bravo for kind of bringing that life and that energy into a different type of speech here. I thought you did a great job answering the questions, especially when it's mainly off the cuff. because you don't know what we're gonna ask, and you did your best persuading us on whatever it is you were talking about. It was kind of nice to see that role playing there, very presidential. The one thing I would just, or one or two things I would just suggest is just there was a little bit of a dance going back and forth, nothing too heavy, kind of casual, but just maybe mix it up and come a little bit forward, or whoever's asking questions, take a step towards them. The only other thing was I would like to have seen more emotion in the actual answers. Maybe relay it to something personal, like it gives here in the evaluation guide. Really kind of draw the answer in. So whether it's about climate change, space exploration, relations with other religions, you can bring them in and say, you know, that's something I really feel passionate about. But once again, doing it kind of in an impromptu way, I can understand how that would be difficult. So I took that into consideration. Other than that, I thought you did a great job. I think the purpose of your speech was definitely achieved as far as trying to get us to, or persuading us into what you were saying. So I credit you, and hopefully myself and others can learn to maybe think of other creative ways to deliver our speeches for our purpose. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for those evaluations.